My name's Renee Crawford. I'm currently the Strategic Development Coordinator for Lenadoon Community Forum. I'm one of the founding members of it. I've lived in Lenadoon since 1971. They started off with myself and Chrissy in the Mid-Lenadoon Residents Association. We set that up, people out to talk about the housing and trying to get the refurbishing, get the work done. So it was strange times, frightening times, but I have to say the community spirit and people helping each other out were obviously second to none. A number of formed residents associations to try and actually, engage with the housing executive to say, look, this is what this area needs, this is what we need. In the early 90s, I think David Bass was in the housing executive at that time, and I remember my colleague Jerry Doherty and Michael, we formed the forum, got him out here to do a walk around the estate, and he took on board what we were saying, and tenant consultation, should be at the heart of everything they do. So from that time, the resident associations in their own area have their own autonomy, and they were working away, trying to get work done, trying to get schemes, and collectively as a forum, we then lobbied to ensure funding was secured, or lobbied the housing executive, or lobbied Stormont to ensure that budgets were made available. If you look at the size of Lenadoon estate, it's always kind of referred to top, middle and bottom. And at the time of the Troubles, an awful lot of families were burnt or forced from their homes, and they fled to West Belfast for safety. There were a number of refugee camps set up down in Andersonstown and up on the Glen Road, and people needed housing. And I know the housing executive then built what's come to be known here in the area as the Liverpool houses in the top end of the estate, and they were primarily to house people who were in the caravan refugee camps, so to try to get some sort of settlement. But what it actually did was it brought a huge population increase to an area that was already suffering from lack of employment opportunities, health inequalities, and in a sense poverty. And it turned out to be the problems were the same in each of the areas. We weren't getting a service, we weren't getting work done to the houses, So we set about, had a community conference in May 1992 and established Lenadoon Community Forum. And as I say, it's an umbrella organisation representing thematic groups throughout the area. When obviously the pandemic hit, for the forum's point of view, a lot of statutory agencies stepped back. Housing executives stepped forward. They actually created a COVID community response grant, and we were able to access that. The forum set up a centralised food bank here, and were able to make up food parcels and did deliveries to over 300 homes on a weekly basis. But also through the funding from the executive, non-food items were also provided to families. It was also about ringing families up, and then some people were saying, obviously with caution, is maybe the first person had been near their house. So I think the youth staff in here, the staff in the Spilton, the staff in Glenparent, everyone came forward. They did the packing, they did the delivering. It was fantastic to see a collective action from a community who worked together, because that's the community all stepped forward. I think the legacy is the work put in to create an organisation that has community participation and community partnership at its heart, and to recognise the value of that. It has to be valued and has to be centred in everything the organisation has done, and that came about in the 90s. And it has been progressed, it has been developed. The organisation has to be fit for future, fit for purpose, and has to be ready to face any challenges. And all the things you'd be talking about, you never thought you'd be talking about the impact of a pandemic could have on tenants, on community, on people's lives.